Hello, you beautiful tea minds. Welcome to the Tea Crane. I'm Tia Sosen, and today I thought I was going to give you another look at one of my beautiful tea scoops that I have in my collection. And you think, why does he keep talking about tea scoops? Well, I think through tea scoops, really, you can get a deeper access to understanding the value of even the simplest tea ceremony utensils and how deep you can go really into Japanese culture through just a simple object like this. This tea scoop again also comes in a cardboard box with the name of the tea scoop on the box and some information about who made it, etc. So that if you put it on a shelf and you stack it, you can actually see what is in the box and you know which box to take for you to use the tea scoop. Because tea ceremony practitioners usually have quite a lot of tea scoops, quite a lot of scrolls, quite a lot of utensils, and you would want to see from the side what is what, so that you know which one to take and don't have to dig and open boxes endlessly before when you're preparing for a tea ceremony. Then inside it is the wooden box. In this case there is nothing on the outside of the wooden box, but there is an inscription on the lid which reads the name of the tea scoop, which is Itozakura, and I will explain more about it, and also the information of the craftsman and the person who inscribed it. Then inside it is the tube, and in this case the tube is very special too, so it is again kept in a fabric that is, let's say it's a brocade with the Dikyu motif on it, the Dikyu plum as a motif on it. And the tube here, as you can see, has a paper stuck onto it with a poem written on it, and it is very interestingly designed. This tube, and of course the tea scoop itself, are an imitation made by a contemporary craftsman. And they're an imitation because usually there's only one of these tea scoops available, and they're commonly kept by a museum. And so we don't have access to it. We could go to the museum and you could learn from looking at it, but not everyone is that eager to just learn from seeing things and having that information. If you really can take these in your hands, you can use them, and you can own them actually, then you will become more eager to also learn about the cultural background of the poem that is written on it, or the inscription that is on it, the story behind it, and to dig deeper in the cultural background. And that is what I will explain to you in this video. But first off, of course, the most important part of it is then the tea scoop itself that is kept in the tube. The tea scoop, of course, has a beautiful appearance. It's slender, it's beautifully made, it's got a nice shade, an interesting pattern on the skin of the bamboo, and it's a great tea scoop. Now, that's a given. The tea scoop needs to be great and interesting. But what really gives this tea scoop its presence and its cultural value is the tube. It's because we have the inscription on the tube that we know who made it, that we know who favored it, who was the collector, who gave it some additional information and some additional value that we can now, as a tea ceremony practitioner, talk about when we use this tea scoop in a tea ceremony, and talk about the pedigree, the background of the various utensils that we use. Because this tube is so valuable, we have an outer box. And on this box again, should something happen to the tube, we still have the lid with the information of who wrote it, who made it, etc. So that we can both protect the tube and the information. Now, why is this information so important? Well, the original tea scoop was made by Kobori Enshu. Kobori Enshu is the founder of the Enshu tradition, and he crafted this tea scoop. Now, he didn't have a name for it, and at a certain occasion where he was looking at the cherry blossoms, he came up with a poem that he wrote down on a piece of paper. And because he didn't have a name for this tea scoop yet, he thought, well, I have a beautiful tea scoop that I still need to give a name. I have a poem that I don't have yet a purpose for. I combine them and I create this tube. It is very unique to have a tube for a tea scoop with the inscription made on paper that is stuck onto the tube. Usually the inscription is made directly onto the bamboo. And in this case, that is not how it happened, and there aren't many examples of an inscription on paper that is then stuck onto it. It's actually very logical, but there aren't many examples of it. Now the tube itself as well, and I need to say that the replica is really, really well done. You have the hole in the bottom of the tea scoop tube. You have the sides that are also as if they have been bitten by bugs. On the top as well, there's a piece where bug bites have caused the tea scoop to get indentations here and there. These are made on a perfectly normal, perfectly nice tube. And they're a replica as well, to make it resemble the original tea scoop. And I think they've been geniusly done. The artisan is one of the craftsman who made it is one of the tea scoop craftsmen that we enjoy most, and I think I featured him in the previous video as well. His name is Miyashita Chicken, and he makes marvelous things. These are the obvious things. Now, the name of the tea scoop is not just a name. It's not just Ito Zakura. Ito Zakura means thread cherry blossom. It already does enough if you just give it the name of a tree or a flower. In most cases, before Enshu's time actually, tea ceremony practitioners would give their utensils names that have a significance in Buddhism. And so you would use a concept in Buddhism that then again calls out an idea or a thought or an emotion that will help you on your spiritual path. Now, this is in a way very similar, where the author calls to mind something that is normal and that happens in nature. And so it allows us to cultivate an awareness again of our surroundings, of the beauty of nature, and to think to ourselves, next time again when I see nature, I should stand still with it more and to really take it in, appreciate it, and have deeper awareness for what is going on around me. The poem reads, Ito Zakura, Tachimasiru sakura wa hana ni arawarete sakanu kagiri wa ito yanagi kana. Ito Zakura, Tachimasiru sakura wa hana ni arawarete sakanu kagiri wa ito yanagi kana. It uses two motifs in Japanese culture that are very important motifs, and they are the Ito Yanagi and the Ito Zakura. The Ito Zakura is the thread cherry blossom, and the Ito Yanagi is the thread willow. Both of them are trees with long, slender branches that are easily bent or broken, and they are used very frequently in Japanese garden design. The branches of these trees grow down in a graceful, pendulous manner, and it gives them a flowing, weeping appearance that is often associated with serenity and tranquility. And in Japanese poetry, these trees are used as a symbol for transience, for beauty, and for the fleetingness of time. As a symbol for the impermanence of life, especially the cherry blossoms, because they are only at their peak for only 1 to 2 weeks a year, it makes us really realize that things can be really short and life is not forever. We need to enjoy it while it is here. The same with the willow. It has these very slender long branches that are easily broken, and it reminds us of the fragility of life, really. These trees with their long branches give us a feeling of elegance, and it reminds us of what natural beauty really is. And they are both also a symbol for the changing seasons. The cherry blossom indicates the beginning of spring, while the willow indicates the start of summer. And because the images that are used in this poem relate to the seasons, it also limits us as a tea ceremony practitioner to when we can use these objects. Because it has the cherry blossom and the willow in the poem, it limits us to only spring, when cherry blossom is a theme, and summer, the beginning of summer, which is indicated by the beautiful long yellow-green shaped leaves of the willow. And I know you want to know what the poem is about and what it translates to, but you need to at least have a little bit of an understanding of the significance of these natural trees in Japanese culture and tradition. And the poem reads, let me translate it very freely so that you get an understanding for it, and also for the pun that is, or the joke that is embedded in the poem. Kobori Enshu wrote, the thread cherry blossom really is only a thread willow unless it produces any beautiful flowers. It calls to mind an episode where Kobori Enshu stands in front of a cherry tree and a thread cherry blossom tree after all the flowers have just fallen. And he must have been disappointed, where he is looking at the tree and thinks to himself, what have I come all this way here for? To see this cherry tree that has lost all its flowers and now just looks like any other willow. There is emotion in the poem, but there is also awareness. And looking at nature and calling to mind different natural elements is something that we can learn from this poem, and which we can learn from for next time when we go out in nature, when we look at a flower, to really listen to what we feel and connect those thoughts and feelings to other experiences that we have, and to become more aware and connected with our natural environment. So that is what I think is really the significance of even a simple object as a tea scoop. You can add a lot of value to it. You bring culture to it and you make it into an art piece. Enshu too would have just started with this beautiful tea scoop, and he thought, I still need to add something to it. So he had made this poem. He created the tube for it so that the tea scoop can be kept safe in it. And this poem adds so much more to it. Now we use this tea scoop in spring and in summer, and we read this poem. We remember the emotion that Enshu had at that time when he wrote the poem, and we feel connected again. We feel connected to nature, and the tea scoop fulfills its beautiful purpose of scooping our matcha tea into the tea bowl. So the tea scoop becomes a medium for us to bring culture into the tea chamber, for us to learn culture while we're in the tea chamber, for us to cultivate an awareness, a state of mind, an emotion, and to bring us closer to the essence of what it is to be a human being. I hope you found this interesting, informative, educational, funny to watch. Whatever it was, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have any stories about tea scoops or teaware that you would like to share, or if you would just like to ask any questions. I'm always open to take your questions. And I will be sharing more videos as well. So if you enjoyed this one, like it, subscribe to the channel and click the bell so that you get updated on new notifications of new releases in the future. And for the time being, I would like to invite you to brew a delicious cup of tea, to create your silence, and to reconnect with the essence.